This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea.
What? You got a quest?
I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. It's Future Yacht Week this week, and we are looking at the newest release from one of the industry's most innovative performance cruiser brands. We're talking about the new NEEL 52. Today, we are going to review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels, do a full virtual tour asking what would Sylvia say, naval gaze at an innovation and/or adjustment that might make life aboard a little easier, and finally, give it a preliminary Dave score and compare the results with all our previously reviewed yachts. As with all future yacht episodes, we are going dry this week and simply allowing the anticipation and art of an exciting new design to do the intoxication for us. Starting high above Vancouver, Canada, we fly east across North America and across the Atlantic to the northwestern shores of France and the home of last time's yacht at the Lagoon XS yards where the new 11 is built. From here we fly north to the port of La Rochelle and the NEEL Trimaran factory, the birthplace of the new 52. I thought I would do something a little bit different this week and just take advantage of some of the great photos and videos there are of the NEEL factory. Obviously, this is home of the mighty NEEL 65, a really dramatic boat, but they have a very modern facility here. Eric and his team have done a wonderful job in putting together probably what was quite a risky proposition when he started off, but kudos to him and his team and all the guts they've shown in doing this. Now, let's have a quick look at the new 52. She really is quite a nice next step in the brand and what NEEL is doing. She's retained the upper cockpit, the upper lounge, she's retained the mid-helm. She has added some very unique new layouts inside and cured some of the ills of the previous design in a very good way. Still retains that brilliant smooth look. I think they've matured the overall hull mold design as well, making it look extremely attractive. They've improved access from the cockpit up to the helm. There's just a lot of elements to this boat that are really extremely attractive. So, new comparables. What are we comparing this to this week? We are looking at the Portofino 47, and the only reason I'm doing that as opposed to the 52 is the 52 has such limited data on it. We will be looking at the 52 in the future. I've chatted with Portofino, but for now I've got info on the 47. The Balance 482, the Ultramar 52, the Ocean Class, the Katana Ocean Class 50, and of course the NEEL 52. And you can see in the profiles just how attractive that NEEL 52 actually is. She's got quite a low respectively. She has a dominating presence at the dock. You wouldn't call it low freeboard when you're standing beside her, but you can see in full profile here that it's not an excessive freeboard. And the impact, you don't get it in the profile here, but the impact of this vessel in the water with those slightly off or backed up AMAs and the main hull there there, the reverse bows, the shape of the hull now made even more attractive. In the water, this is a spaceship. Heading on to the cabin top, you can see the NEEL has retained a beautiful sun pad and that fantastic fly lounge. And I've talked to owners of NEELs, and they all say that is the gathering spot. Now, there's all sorts of different criticisms about a fly lounge. I don't understand why. One of them is, oh, it's too hot up there. Well, you're not sitting out there in the blazing sun. It's at night when the sun's gone down. Boom height is raised too high. Well, NEEL hasn't done that. They kept their boom at a decent height. You just don't stand up there when you're under sail. You sit and keep your head down. And then, windage. Well, they've got this with minimal windage. That really, I mean, it's non-existent there. So I think, you know, for the functionality, the comfort, they've done an absolutely wonderful job retaining that. Ocean class, very comfortable helm position. They don't have the same square footage for solar that a NEEL does, and so they have to sacrifice any hope of a sun pad or a lounge up there for the solar. Outramare, I just have an emotional aesthetic attachment to this vessel. The 52 is gorgeous. It's as much like art as it is a functional sail yacht. The design, whoever's the designer on this, I just think you're a genius, because everything is so finished, so professional, so beautifully done and so artistically done. Now, they don't have a fly lounge. Their boom is way too low for that, and it's not the kind of boat you'd expect a fly lounge on. They have done a nice job though with the faux cockpit up front, where they've got factory cushions in there, nice, so that you got some lateral lounges there. Balance 482, just a beautiful yacht. There are no fly lounges or anything of that nature. You've got significant, what's the word I'm looking for? Rigid solar on custom-made, elevated, integrated beds to allow air circulation to maximize the efficiency of those solar panels. So they, you know, and everything, again, looks so finished, where maybe Outramare has an edge on the aesthetic, which you'd expect from the French. I'd say Balance has an edge on the sheer, what's the word I'm looking for? The thing just feels solid, absolutely solid. Everything, it's as well finished as the Outramare. It's as professionally done. It just leans more towards a high-end Mercedes versus a high-end Ferrari. I'm still not the right comparison there, but I think you get what I mean. I have ultimate admiration for both these brands. The Portofino 47, we don't know yet, but wow, the design that they've done, both interior and exterior, the materials being aluminum, the really neat innovations they've done. It promises to be a very interesting boat if it's half of what it looks to be. Now, in this one, it shows a fly bridge with a lounge. Since the Barefoot Doctors have started their design on their 52, Portofino, I believe, is offering a mid-level helm that brings the boom down, reduces the windage, and gets rid of the fly bridge on all of their models. So we'll wait and see on that one. Now, let's move into the saloon. So, the NEEL 52 is ginormous. I mean, they have taken full advantage of a Trimaran's width beam. They've spread that cabin right across, and they've kept the owner's suite upstairs. They have shrunk it down a little bit and dropped the head and bathroom into the ama, just like we sort of navel gazed at some time ago when we were looking at the 51. They've done a great job by extending the saloon interior settee and getting rid of what was almost an overpowering galley size. You could have landed an F-16 on the countertops and moved that over in front of the owner's suite on the starboard side. It's still significant, but a real sailor will love this because you've got the counter space, but you've got hip bolster all the way through. It's not just a U shape. It's a, I don't know what you'd call that, but it is fabulous ability to stand stable in rough seas just about anywhere in that wonderful galley. And then they've really done a nice job redesigning the forward-facing helm. I'd probably remove the seat they have. They have a nice seat there, and I'd put in a trawler captain seat there for those night watches, because you do have some nice good space there. Outside they put in a beautiful big aft cockpit settee there, lounging space, and you still have the cockloon where you could have, I don't know, half the UN sitting around that table with the cockloon doors open. The Katana class, it is extremely comfortable in the layout. They've created several different entertainment areas, so you don't feel you have to sit at the kitchen table no matter what you're doing. They got a beautiful forward-facing helm with a really nice, comfortable chair in there. It is I could see myself living on board in this layout. The only challenge is they've gone too bally on the materials. They need to go over to Naughty Tech, or they need to go over to HH. They need to up their game on their materials, their rounded corners, the quality of their wood. Go with something warm and chocolatey like they had in their original renders. I saw in the darker walnut, and wow, good. So that's the only thing. The overall, even down to their fore-aft facing owner's berth, they still give you full two-side access, so it's easy to make. I think they've done a great job there. The Ultramare 50, I'm gambling. I was trying to peek in the windows on that launch video they just did, see what the space felt like in the saloon, but I have a feeling it will be as stunning and gobsmacking as it was when I first walked onto the 55. You know, their layout is open and comfortable and airy. Their lines are curved and sophisticated. Their materials are beautiful. They are modern. They are somewhat minimal, but they are warm, and they've just executed beautifully. I find NEEL's a little too minimalist. The Balance 482, I've been on the 44. The 44, I saw some significant steps forward in their aesthetic treatment in there, but you know, it just feels so high quality, so solid, so beautiful, and the space in there is loads and plenty. I could easily see myself living on that boat, but you don't have the wide open spaces that you have on the 52. The Portofino, again, it's a 47, so you don't have quite the same space, but it is a very unique layout, and the renders look spectacular. So the next one we're looking at here is back into the saloon again, but now we're looking at the other variation that NEEL has proposed, and this is what we were all looking forward to, all just couldn't imagine what it would be like if the entire saloon was wide open and the owner's berth was downstairs. And this thing, I can hardly wait to get aboard, because look at the sheer space. Look at what you're gonna, it's gonna feel like a 60 5-foot vessel. It's going to feel amazing. Now, the challenge will be, how have they executed the owner's suite downstairs? And I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I mean, wow, there's not a lot to complain about when you're talking about wide open spaces in a 52-foot format. So let's dive down into those hulls. You can see the NEEL 52. You know, her amas are just a little narrower than the Outremer 52, which tells you just how fast that Outremer 52 is going to be. You can see in this one, this is the format for the master suite up. So in the starboard side ama, you can see a beautiful dressing room there, a nice bathroom, although I'm not sure why the designers choose to go with a single sink, and you know, they've got massive real estate to play with here as far as that ensuite can go, now that they've moved it down into the ama. And I guess I'm talking only looking at drawings, so I don't know what it will feel like, but it seems to me they could have done more with the size of the ensuite. And I know that sounds silly, but my wife's not, I'm not going anywhere without my wife, and my wife finds en-suites a very important element of living. But, you know, huge step forward, because what they had before in the 51, she would have simply rejected, no matter how much I loved that vessel. I'm dying to see what they've done with the center hull. It looks like a big bed. It looks like it could be shrunk down a bit to give access around the sides. I am very disappointed in what they've done with the forward head again. I'm not sure what the fixation is on having so many berths on a vessel this size. I just don't need them. And I'd love a configuration that turns the full forward section of the center hull into a full bathroom, a beautiful, big, spacious head, and makes that center hull an owner's suite par excellence. Then you can see the guests ama on the port side there. They've got a nice bathroom attached there. You can have the forward berth if you wish, but you know, as far as internal access to the guest space, it looks like it's going to be a nice guest room. Now back over onto the starboard side ama, you'll note up in the forward section ahead of the head is a beautiful laundry room. Now, I'm assuming that that's accessed from the top of the ama, although I would cross my fingers that they put a door in the back of that shower stall so you could get at it without going outside. But you've got full washer dryer, and I'm crossing my fingers as well. That's a vented dryer and not an unvented dryer. You compare all of this to the Ocean class. The Ocean class hulls on the Katana are done extremely well. Again, their layout is outstanding. The owner's side is beautiful and spacious. You've got nice practical two-side access to that bed, so I can easily make it. I can get out without disturbing Sylvia. Everything is being done nicely, but they've lost themselves from the past. Like their previous 65 was a work of art on the interior cabinetry. They need to reach history and get back on track. Again, hop over CHH or Naughty Tech, or at least call up your old cabinet makers and get them back in this thing and design it right, because your layouts are outstanding. The Outremer 52, I'm dying to see what this looks like. Sylvia just gave me permission to go with a berth with only one side access, or foot of the bed access. She said, as long as I promise to make the bed every day, we can go with a bed like that. So I'm kind of excited. It broadens my horizons. I know that sounds weak, but what can I say, guys? It's all about her. It really is. They've got that beautiful flex flex room in the forward section of the port side hull, and that's an exciting space that you can see Nautic's doing that, you can see Leopard's doing that, most everybody, even the XS folks are doing that. The 482 is a fabulous. I've never really sailed in heavy seas with a berth in the bow, a thwartship like that, and there are criticisms thereof, but it sure gives you nice access to that berth, gives you a sense of space and comfort and quality. You can't say enough about the Balance 482. The Portofino 47, you've got a little bit wider hulls there, so we'll see how that works with the numbers, but wow, you got a nice athwartship berth in the front on the owner's side, just like in the Balance, and out the back, out of the back end of the aft head, you got walkout access onto the sugar scoops. I mean, there's some cool stuff there, but overall, there's your NEEL 52, and here is your NEEL 52 layout with the full open upstairs. I've forgotten what they call it, but you can see you've got both amas here. Have the guest room. This is the way I'd lay it out. I probably wouldn't bother with the additional berths up in the forward of the two amas and just leave that for space. I'd certainly put the laundry room back in on the starboard forward ama, but it's all sort of, I don't know what it's going to feel like or look like. I wouldn't want to be in the amas for my owner's hull, and I'm dying to see what that center hull main room feels like, if you can walk around that berth. It's hard to see. I do wish that they'd offered a configuration that took full advantage of the bow of the main hull for an expansive head. I'm not sure what their thing is against really nice, big, luxurious heads, but maybe they could take a page out of Phil Berman's book and just put it in the bow there. Okay, let's look at the numbers now. So these are preliminary numbers. They seem to change daily, but we're going to go with what we have here. NEEL at 900, and it is just a little more expensive than the 47 Portofino. But remember, the Portofino is a 47, and the NEEL is a 52. So the Portofino is a hell of a deal, though, given at 861. The NEEL, you know, if I can get past their minimalist aesthetic in their decor, or jazz it up in some way without breaking the bank, I'd be awful tempted with that NEEL 52. It's such an interesting and innovative platform to see the world on. So there are your two best prices. Next one is the Katana at $915. Followed by the Outremer at 11, you know, $1,001,000, followed by the Balance at $1,150,000. So, you know, I think for what you're getting here, they're all good values in their own way. Looking down then at the displacement, the Balance and the Outremer lead the pack at 12.5 ton. But the NEEL is no slouch at 12.6 tons. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think Eric is doing a brilliant job, he and his team over there, at keeping that weight down and delivering a very innovative sailing platform. Next up is going to be the Katana at 14.5. followed by the Portofino at 16.5. Bearing in mind the Portofino is made of aluminum, and that has significant benefits. Tankage, heading down to the tankage, you've got the Katana leading the way at 800 liters each. It sounds suspiciously like the tankage on a Bali. The next one is going to be the Balance at close to 800 each. Followed by the NEEL at 700 and 600 for fuel and water respectively. And then the Portofino at 440 and 550, and finally the Ultramare at 333 and 379. Now, getting into more of the technical details, hull construction and the various sailing performance indicators, we're looking across here, and aside from the Portofino, which is all aluminum and has a whole different set of benefits, it appears that one of the best hulls is the Katana, which is E-glass and carbon fiber with Trimaran, that's Kevlar, cloth reinforcement, vinyl ester foam core. Obviously, the Balance 482 is a very nice construction as well. E-glass with carbon fiber reinforced, vacuum bag closed form, combination of polyester inner skin and vinyl ester outer skin. Ultramare, very, very similar to the Balance. So you've got solid polyester laminate beneath the waterline with a vinyl ester outer layer. You've got foam core, and certain components are reinforced with carbon. So you know what? NEEL is polyvinyl ester, so same thing, PVC foam sandwich with quadraxial glass cloth. It's a decent quality hull. No, it's not all vinyl ester. No, it's not all epoxy. And it should be noted that SeaCat is moving to all epoxy. You know, for the price point, it's outstanding. Let's move into the indicators. So sail area over displacement, which indicates power. Here, top number wins. You got the NEEL sitting there at 33.25. Now, I'm not sure if the Trimaran wreaks havoc with the typical sail area to displacement calculator, but that's a hell of a number. You got Ultramare then at 31.23. And then you've got Katana at 28, Balance at 26, and Portofino at 23. Moving to displacement to hull length at the waterline, here lowest number wins. You've got the NEEL again winning at 80.01, followed again by the Ultramare at 81.71. Followed again by the Balance at 99.3, then the Katana at 108, and the Portofino at 162. So, you know, the NEEL, it's no slouch, and if I'm doing this incorrectly or a Trimaran hull configuration has some impact on these formulas, please let me know. But right now, that NEEL is looking like a rocket ship. So let's hop on board our virtual tour and see what would Sylvia say. Well, everything is indicating that Sylvia would take this one very, very seriously. I mean, just have a quick look here at that aft cockpit with the stairs up to that very nice mid-helm. You've got lots of space in the cockpit area. You've got the massive doors opening up into the cockloon. Nice place for your dinghy. Good ladders in off the back of the sugar scoops. It's a very pleasant area and would feel extremely spacious. As we then head a little further into the cockpit area, you can see how the cockloon doors move and slide fully over to the starboard side, creating this massive connected dining space, that indoor-outdoor feel that Eric's looking for. You can see the stairs up to the the Helm there and the continuation up onto a very comfortable sky lounge. And as we go a little further into the interior here, you can see what this would look like in real life. This is an actual NEEL 51, but you can see it's going to look very, very similar, probably even more spacious. Here is a good close look at the 52. And I mean, wow, you got the electric table. I double up on those electric tables. And what a dramatic space. Now looking here down on the layout again, you can see the amount of space that you've got both in that aft cockpit with a massive sun lounge on the starboard side. And then the level of area and space and comfort in the owner's suite, stairs down into your dressing room. Then over on the port side, look at the space around that nav table. That's why I say I'd probably slide in a nice big trawler captain's chair right there. But your kitchen area, your galley area is fantastic, massive space, and what's more important, lots of area to bolster yourself in a heavy sea. So very, very comfortable. Now let's move into the saloon, and here's, you know, where I get a little I really wish they would polish up. Now it's hard to see from this, but I really dislike the exposed fiberglass at the base of the settees. I think it looks cheap, and that should be dressed up. I think the settee cushions themselves should have some detail to them. Either they should have a buttoned back, or they should have some edge trim in an opposing color, similar to what Beneteau does, or hop over to Aventura and have a look at what they've done on their Power 50 and the diamond stitch on the cushions. I mean, it just adds such a layer of quality. ML is outstanding too, but nobody's going to have exposed glass at the base of those because it just makes it look like a plastic chair. Now, it's hard for me to see, but it looks like they put some nice detail on the actual coffee table, and I'm hoping that not only folds up but slides out and away over to the starboard side, so you have a true coffee table feel. It also looks like on the starboard side here in the edge of the photo that the countertop is much more it's got some kind of texture to it. It's got a look like, say, Lagoon's marble-esque look, or the beautiful, beautiful look that the 442 from Balance had in Miami. They did a fabulous job on that, on choosing that countertop. And if that's there, it's going to do wonders for this. I do love the way they've got the nice curve on that upper cabinet. The angles, I think, make it far more attractive, and of course that angles into the master bedroom's door, which is just outside the screen on the starboard side. But looking forward, you can see how completely comfortable that forward-facing helm would be. You literally, absolutely could do a very nice watch there. And then your galley area, masses of counter space. You've got a 2-level counter there, gives it a little break up in the look, which is nice. Again, those countertops are going to make or break this. The other thing is, it looks like there is a bit of a kickboard at the bottom of all the cabinetry. I'm crossing my fingers. They've got indirect lighting there. They should do exactly the same thing around the settee, so that the cushions, below the cushions is a little kickboard on the base, and you've got indirect lighting down there. One thing I don't see here that a lot of others do very well, and it adds a huge impact, is indirect lighting around the perimeter of the cabin top, and they could also do it across that cross beam in the center there. They really don't do a lot with indirect lighting in the ceiling at NEEL, and I think they should take a page out of Leopard, out of Naughty Tech, out of basically everybody else, and get with the program on the indirect lighting, because it really makes a massive, massive difference. Okay, different angle here now, zooming in, looking over into the kitchen area. We're wandering over there, and you can see how as you walk in, you would have a sense of so much greater space in this layout than in the old 51, simply because you'll note that the bedroom door is there as you walk in. And it is flat against the wall, as opposed to the lower kind of drawer set that was there, that jutted into the room just as you walked in, with that overhead cabinet that jutted as well. And I've seen a couple of pictures of people who took out the overhead cabinet, and it made a huge visual and perception difference. So my guess is when you walk into this one, it's going to feel far more open than the old 51 did. And then they've done a beautiful job of just angling the lower cabinets and upper cabinets out from the wall gently as you enter. The upper cabinets now are in a far more logical place near the galley. The whole thing makes so much more sense, and just look at the way you're going to be able to bolster yourself there. The TV is a far more reasonable size space. It's going to feel more comfortable and give this place a sense of greater space. Now, on the aft side of the wall, the angled wall to the galley, I'm not sure what I'm looking at there. I'm hoping it's a window of some sort. That would allow me in my master bedroom to look out and actually see out the front. And if it is, hats off to y'all, because I think that is absolutely brilliant. You can see here as well, they enlarged the settee in the living room area. They brought it more forward, and they've created a really, really comfortable space for your forward-facing nav that could actually be used as a desk and is actually a practical watch. So, I think they've done a great, great job. Let's have a look moving into the master bedroom area here. I don't have any images of that available, so we're just going to imagine we walk through that door now, and we're in the master suite, which you can see looks to have some very comfortable space around the bed. The bed has now been turned around in a more traditional fashion, which I personally prefer. They've got some nice nightstands around it, and you can see just forward of the bed on the starboard side the stairs into your lower the bathroom area here, which you can now see. So as we zoom into the dressing room, is your area here. You can see the space that's being added. Now this is significant. You've got way more closet space, which was pretty lean in the previous NEEL. You've got full dry head. You've got a beautiful makeup desk there, which Sylvia is going to love, and a good size shower. I'm disappointed at the size of the countertop. It seems unnecessarily small. You still had loads of space to play with here, and it just seems like they rinsed out again. Somebody over at NEEL Design isn't married and doesn't have a wife that's smacking them upside the head saying, why did you make that counter too small? I'm hoping that there is a door in the back of that shower stall heading forward into the laundry room, because that laundry room is absolutely brilliant. Sylvia would love it. I would love it. I think as long as there's some internal access to it, yay. As we look at the center hull here, this is where I'm dying to see what reality looks like. That bed looks like it could actually be slimmed up so you could have full three-side access. I'm a little disappointed in that forward head. Again, it's a wet head. There's enough room. You need to have a wet head. I don't know why anybody would want to have a wet head when you have the space to play with that you actually have in this. Nobody needs another freaking berth in the front of that hull. So overall, this is really something that, you know, give you a sense of what it might look like. This is from the 51, but, you know, in general, you're going to have the same sort of shapes. Now this is going to be something I am absolutely dying to see. I don't know what hull number 1 is going to be, but this is really intriguing to me. And the whole thing, I'd instantly go for this layout if I knew that the owner's suite was going to be really comfortable down in the center hull. Without that, I'd probably be stuck with the other way. But can you imagine the sense of volume in this layout? It's going to be off the charts. Probably more focused on the charter market, but wow, would I ever love this, assuming that my my actual living space for my master's or owner's suite is going to be super comfortable, which right now it doesn't look like. The center main berth there has a decent bathroom, and you know, it's hard to say. So here's the quick comparison to the previous format. So the 51's in the center and the two 52s are on the outside. And you can just see, even in the look of the lines and the flow and everything, this has matured beautifully. So hats off to you guys. And we'll look down in the hulls here again. You can see, again, both configurations. I know everybody loved that massive mechanical space, but it was a giant waste of space. And I think they've taken a step towards good space utilization on this highly unique platform. It's not as far as I'd like to see it go, but it's pretty darn nice. So here's the 51. And here is the 52, and you can immediately see a maturity in the hull configuration, the hull flow and shape. It really is a beautiful evolution for the brand. This is the 51, and there is the 52. Just, you know, again, just matured nicely. Now, a little navel gazing. You will recall some time ago that it was my dream, because I love this boat. I love the idea of this boat. And after watching several episodes about the benefits of a trimaran, the primary one, other than speed, being comfort at anchor. Now, I know the sailors in the crowd will go, so what? Bottom line, I'm going to be at anchor 90% of the time and sailing 10% of the time. And probably 25% of the time I'm sailing, Sylvia won't be bored because she'll be flying because she doesn't do the long passages. So for me, at anchor comfort is massive, and the trimaran delivers on that. Everybody said the same thing. They had different opinions about sailing performance, blah, 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 but at anchor, it nailed it. So I love this thing and its possibilities, probably on an emotional level that exceeds what should be rational thought. There's just something about it. But I couldn't do anything with it in its previous configuration. So here was an adjustment I proposed where we shrunk up that galley and pulled it forward. We extended the settee as they've already done, but we've added we've gotten rid of the cabinetry altogether and added a full face-to-face lounge area. In the master's area, we got rid of the head, we put in a settee, and we put stairs down. Oh, I retained the bed in its standard configuration, and we put a smart glass wall forward of the master berth so that you could see straight onto the instrumentation when you're in bed just by rolling over. And then how about doing something creative on the front, the main hull bow top? Even Ultramar has put in some factory cushions. I think it'd be great. This space to me feels even better maybe than the new layout. It's just very broad. Now, this is where I would have gone way further than what the designers did in the AMA ensuite. So I don't see any need for another aft cabin in the AMA. So I would have taken that and turned it into giant hanging space that you'd have an access through the bulkhead. Big counter at the foot of the stairs with 2 sinks. A nice big, nice toilet area there, nice big shower. And then we got Jack and Jill showers in every boat you can think of. How about just a door, an engineered in door that goes through the shower? So you literally could walk through the shower to a makeup desk, allowing you to take full access to this hull, and then a massive walk-in closet in the front. And by the way, you could also enter that area separately through another set of stairs. To me, this format would be even more elegant and more useful than the current format that we see here. But again, it's a great step forward. I think what they've done is good. They've just left a lot of space unused and used unnecessarily for additional bunks. I just don't want that many people on my boat at one time. Okay, now let's move over to my other bugaboo. That forward kind of half-baked head they've got there. I don't get this. Who needs another berth? How about this? Let's just take that whole thing and turn it into a massive dressing room, beautiful shower, lots of space, and let's have a nice walk around berth in the center hull. Wouldn't this just be spectacular? So again, somebody just take this design and run with it, for goodness sakes, because to me, these two elements would turn a NEEL 52 into God's gift. You could go with the wide open spaces upstairs and still have a really nice center hull master. The 52, she just looks beautiful from every angle you can see here. I think they've just done, a tremendous job. I think it's an evolution, a beautiful evolution of a highly unique format and a really brave venture on the part of Eric Brunel and his team. Okay, let's look at the preliminary Dave score. Where did she end up? Well, she did pretty darn good. Now remember, this is preliminary. So the interior, it's a 7. It has been enhanced since the 51, for sure. It's more polished, it's more rounded, it flows better. You can see it in everything, and I hope the actual thing looks as good. So solid 7. The exterior, it gets an 8. I think they've done great improvements on the look of the exterior, on its elegance. Comfort, the interior again, I think they've improved that with the extension of the settee in the saloon and the AMA head for the master. The exterior, it's really, it's outstanding still. The quality, I feel bad for NEEL sometimes with some of the stuff they're going through as they introduce something brand new and extraordinary. But I've spoken to dealers, and some of them say the NEEL has the least number of issues of any of the yachts they're dealing in, and they're dealing in some very nice yachts. So I don't know what to think about some of the chit-chat in the background. Performance, 7, it could be an 8. We'll just have to wait and see. Lazy Sailor is a solid 7. Everything comes back to the Helm. Condo, 7, could be a 9 if the owner's suite in the hulls allows me to have the owner's suite in the hull and the full open upstairs. Geek, this is an 8 or a 9. It's a cool boat and it appeals to every little geek molecule in me. Value for money, it's a 7 or higher than that. And I think they've done a terrific job. That puts the preliminary NEEL 52 in with the Leopard 50. And ahead of the Dufour, the Katana. I would think it could be, well, no, the Leopard 50 for what you're getting there is pretty darn cool too. So it seems about right. Okay, well, I certainly hope that you have enjoyed this sneak peek at what I am hoping will be a very, very exciting yacht and a strong contender to get Sylvia out there doing the circumnav in comfort and security and happiness. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.